It is your feel-good breakfast show. It's Expresso on S3, and a home is not a home unless it has a touch of your personality. And that's where interiors and decor come into play. And to take your space up a notch, we look to the walls. Be it wallpaper or a nice fresh coat of paint, the man with all the answers is decor expert and regional manager of Home Fabrics SA, Hendrik Dreyer, and he is here to help us make the right choice. It's so great to have you here.
Hi.
I feel like wallpaper is making a comeback, or is it just in my imagination?
You know, I think wallpaper's always been around, and I think if you sort of choose well, it'll always be around. So I don't think it's your imagination at all.
Oh, well, I love to hear that. Now, just to differentiate between the differences between wallpaper and paint, just take us through those basics.
I think the big difference between wallpaper and paint is the longevity of the product. You know, with paint, it's 5 to 6 years, and there's constant maintenance with paint, like chipping, cracking, bubbling, all those sort of things. Whereas with wallpaper, you've got 10 to 15 years generally.
Okay.
So not so much a difference, but more a similarity is that both need a professional to do the job. Whether, you know, we all think we're a DIY master when it comes to paint jobs, but 9 out of 10 times you actually need a pro to do that. And the same with wallpaper, you need a proper installer. So it's very much that. And then with paint, you're kind of limited to color as your main vehicle of design. Whereas with wallpaper, you've got texture, you've got pattern, you've got color. It's really like a myriad of options. So you've got a lot more options using wallpaper than you do with paint.
Well, you see, never thought of it that way. I mean, to think wallpaper actually has a longer shelf life, if I can say it that way. Now, when it comes to the price point, does that then automatically mean wallpaper is more expensive than paint, or what are some of the costs you need to keep in mind if you're considering the two options?
Look, like I mentioned, paint, you generally need a professional. So it's a different professional, but it's also professional, so you need a wallpaper installer. I wouldn't DIY wallpaper, a little bit nervous. And I think, you know, if you consider you do 2 paint jobs for the same time span that you would have a wallpaper installation up, it's very much the same in that sort of aspect. So besides the initial outlay of wallpaper, and wallpaper coming from sort of entry level, really reasonable price points, all the way up to high-end sort of bespoke, beautiful papers, there really is a massive amount of options, and you don't have to necessarily be frightened by the price point on wallpaper, because you're going to spend the money anyway, whether it's going to be on the paint job twice over or whether it's going to be on the wallpaper once off. So that's really the difference.
Looking at it. That is a really great way of looking at it.
So, and if you choose well, you're clever.
Definitely. So that's a huge commitment, but I mean, that's the beauty of choosing a pattern or something, because there's always something for you to play around with when it comes to a wallpaper. But now when it comes to the prepping and the prime, I know that it's important to do that for your painting, and I take it the same for wallpaper. What preparations need to go in place to get your canvas ready?
Look, I think the most important thing with wallpaper is making sure that your surface is 100% smooth, that you've got a lining paper. Most of the time it's very important, and also to choose well with that as well. Like, you know, if you know it's an environment where there might be moisture and those sort of things, a vinyl paper would be great as opposed to a non-woven paper. And also considering like not using natural fiber, as rather going for a vinyl or a paper sort of product as opposed to a grass cloth or a fabric-based sort of paper. So I think that's the big,
Oh, well, listen, we can talk wallpaper all day, every day. I'm looking behind us, and we've got beautiful wallpaper in studio, and I know that you've got something you want to share with us too. So Hendrik's not going anywhere. Stay tuned to your Feel Good Breakfast show, as we want to make sure your house becomes that perfect home.
It's my Feel Good Breakfast Show.
Welcome back. It is your Feel Good Breakfast show, and while some might think of wallpaper as old-fashioned, this element of home decor is making a huge comeback, and that's thanks to the various styles, designs, and color options available. There's even paint tables, like paintable wallpapers. There are custom-made ones too. You really can make it your own and make your space truly one of a kind. Now we are back with Decor expert and regional manager of Home Fabrics SA, Hendrik Dreyer is here, and he will show us some examples of wallpaper installations, and also, you know, we'll talk through the beautiful wallpapers that we have here on our set at Expresso. Let's talk of this one, because, I mean, the TV can't see it, but it's got like a velvety texture to it, and there's also quite a lot going on, yet it works in this space.
Yeah, look, I mean, the design's called Menagerie of Extinct Animals, and it's really the sort of this massive trend that we're seeing a lot of, which is like the fantastical, magical realism sort of trend. And this wallpaper has been massively successful, and it leans into that quite heavily. And if you look at it, it really is beautiful homage to all these animals that have gone, and like plants that we still see, luckily, in our own Fynbos kingdom, like that beautiful fan aloe right there. And what I love about it is that subtle sort of texture to it. And even though it's like quite overwhelming and busy, it isn't that. Like it works beautifully in the setting, and I think paired up with a bit of color blocking, it looks fantastic, and it actually adds that little bit of je ne sais quoi, like that we really love.
And there are so many different colors you can pick up on if you want to change this up, for example, in your own space.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at a busy pattern like this, does it work well in small spaces, or is this more recommended for a bigger space?
Look, I think it boils down to personal taste. So, like, if you love a maximalist sort of look and feel, more is more. But if you feel like you really need to use art as wallpaper, I think a bigger space is fantastic. And yeah, there's really versatility in the sort of product that you use, so you're not limited by pattern necessarily.
Definitely. Well, let's move over to our lounge, because we've got beautiful wallpaper there. We've used it as art in the arches.
Yes.
And then we also have texture in our lounge with our Expresso show light sign here, which is also incredible. Now, the question I have is, picking wallpaper is a huge commitment, because that's something you're not going to change out very soon in comparison to your paint lifespan. Now, if I go to a store, I can get a sample of paint, put it on my wall, and see what that color will look like in my space. How can I test out wallpaper?
Look, luckily for us, it's not that little tiny paint swatch that you're working with. You're working with a book, first of all. So, and 9 or 10 times there's beautiful visuals in books representing it. And you know, and part of the whole green revolution, there's a reduction in sampling. So there's much more investment in digital platforms. So digital visualization is very much part of a lot of the editors that we have. So you can actually see it made up, which is great. It might be on a screen, but it gives you a very clear idea of what you're in for.
And so, I mean, our kitchen in Expresso has a very bold pattern, but my kitchen at home, it is white, it is plain, and to my personal touch, it lacks personality. But I've got high ceilings, so there's a lot of wasted space above the cabinetry, and I got told, why don't you look into wallpaper? Where do you even begin to choose a pattern or something that you feel will fit your personality?
Look, I think it really starts with looking at the options available. So if it's going to be, and what's your personal taste? Like, do you like something bold and maximalist, like that incredible Moy wallpaper, or something a little bit more textured and subtle, like the one behind us? You know, and there you use color as your vehicle of expression, or you can go with something a little bit more over the top, like that paper there, or panoramic, like what we see there.
Oh, fantastic. Well, endless options. So anyone who we have, you know, tickled their fantasy to get them intrigued with wallpaper, where can they get more information on it? Because you need to, you know, do your research before you just decide, oh, today we're putting wallpaper on that wall.
I think your first port of call would be a home fabric showroom, where you can pop in and have a look at the endless options available, and then just start narrowing it down from there. Alternatively, if you don't have the luxury of popping out and doing what you need to, you can always trawl online, Home Fabrics XA, and on there we have links to all the editors that we have. So you'll find links to Designers Guild, Osborne Little, Christian Lacroix, Arte Wall Coverings, Ace Creations. I can go on all day. So, like the options are endless.
The options are endless. I just don't know how you end up picking a pattern and hoping for the best. But I think you also have those moments where the pattern or the print you choose will speak to you.
Exactly.
And I suppose it's probably best to come with your inspiration.
Yes. Always be prepared. But know what you want, and then we can give you what you need. So it's really down to that.
There we go. Well, Hendrik, thank you for joining us. Thank you for making our studio so beautiful. We love the wallpaper. From the beautiful green, what did you say that one is called?
It's called Menagerie of Extinct Animals.
Menagerie of the extinct animals that you see on your screen right now, to this textured wall we have here behind our Expresso show sign, to our beautiful visuals that we have here in our arches. So there we go. do make sure you check out Fabrics SA for Home Fabrics SA for more information. And of course, do visit their website because they have a huge catalogue for you to choose from.